Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Solving LEETCODE Hard Question. Today's question is reverse nodes in K group. The question is as follows. Given the head of a linked list, reverse the nodes of the list K at a time and return the modified list. We know that K is guaranteed to be a positive integer and it will be less than or equal to the length of the linked list. And if the number of nodes is not a multiple of K, then the left out nodes should remain as it is. The question asks us to change the nodes themselves instead of altering the value in the list's nodes. So for example, if the original list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and K is 2, then we're required to reverse 2 nodes at a time. So 1, 2 will become 2, 1, and 3, 4 will become 4, 3, and 5 will be left as is. So the resulting list will be 2, 1, 4, 3, 5. How do we solve this? Pause here if you want to think independently for a moment. A good place to start is to break the problem into smaller parts. Since we need to reverse nodes in K group, step 1 could be to reverse one group of K nodes, and step 2 is to traverse the linked list and reverse every K nodes at a time. Now when solving linked list question, there are generally some tips that may be helpful. Tip 1 is to draw out each stage of the transition and use pointers to help you understand. And tip 2 is to use a dummy head. This is because usually we need to keep track of the head node, but the head node may move during the transitions. By using a dummy head and pointing the next node to the actual head, we can always return the head node after we process the transitions. So now let's tackle step 1. Here I've shown an example with K equals 3. Let's apply tip 1, which is to use pointers to help us keep track of the nodes. We need a pointer for the head and for the tail to keep track of the newly constructed reverse list. Here I'm initializing both at the front because we haven't started constructing the reverse list yet. We'll also need a pointer to the next node as we're traversing through the K group. For tip 2, we'll add a dummy head pointing to the front of the list. Let's think out loud what we need to do here. We need to move 2 to the front of the list. What this means is that the dummy will now point to 2, 2 will point to 1, and 1 will point to 3. So it is this list here. In simple words, this means that the new head is now the old next node. This is because we're always trying to move the next node to the front of the list to reverse the linked list. And it's now pointing to the old new head. As for the tail, it's still node 1 here, but now it's pointing to the old next nodes next. And at last, we need to reassign the next node, which is the tails next. This is what it looks like translated to code. The first step here will make node 1 point to node 3, and the second and third step will move 2 to the front of the list, pointing to node 1. Finally, the pointer to the next node will be readjusted. Putting it all together, this is what the Python code will look like to reverse one group of K nodes. Note that we're returning the tail position at the end of the function, as this will be useful when we're combining everything together to reverse K groups at a time. Now we can move on to step 2, which is the easier part. We'll keep a tracker to move K steps along the list, and another pointer that points to the dummy head of the current group. If we're able to move K steps, then we can perform the reverse on the current group, and then keep moving. Otherwise, if we reach the end of the list and it doesn't have K nodes yet, we don't perform any reverse and simply just return the modified list. This is what it looks like in Python code. If K is equal to 1, there's nothing to be done here. Otherwise, we'll use dummy, tracker, and pointer to reverse the linked list K nodes at a time and keep track of the pointer positions. The final time complexity is O of n because we're traversing the list once. And the space complexity is O1 because the modification was done in place. That's it for today. Let me know if you have any questions and what other LeetCode questions you'd like to see next.